You can't capture this location like this unless you have a drone.
I know, that's why I'm not even using my camera anymore. I just gave up.
Look at that.
Director Brady Skye. I just want to congratulate you for the nominations for your film. Best Short Documentary, Best Extreme Adventure Film, Best Travel or Road Trip Film, Best Drone Photography Film, Best Cinematography, that you share that nomination with Justin Wartella. So take it away, Mac.
Somewhere in Utah, that's the title. Where in Utah? Utah is a big state. Can you give us kind of a general idea of where you were in Utah?
Sure, absolutely. So flew into Salt Lake City. Justin actually met me there, picked me up at the airport, and we just headed right to the center of the state. We were around the Hanksville area, and from there we drove to the eastern side, around Moab. And then at the very end we went to the Salt Flats. You'll see the Salt Flats there. That was kind of a spontaneous decision to go there. I really wanted to see it, and so we made it happen. And I don't know that he'll ever drive his truck onto that salt again, but so I'm glad that I was on board for that.
Brief inventory, what's in that truck? There seems to be so much equipment, and you know, for a nerd mate like me, it's like, can you make a kit out of this and sell it online, please?
I know, right? Yeah, he's done a video, like kind of touring it, I think in a little more detail than what I did, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely I would say minimalist setup. I think in the film, you know, you hear like the reason kind of why he chose that instead of going with something like a van. Cost is a big part of it. Yeah. And it's got, storage on top. I mean, it's a work in progress. He built the bed on the inside to be able to sleep on and have storage in there and things like that. But it's still a work in progress. He's always making upgrades, Justin is. You know, since the film, he's gotten like new headlights, taillights. I know he'll probably redo the whole front bumper, and add a whole different back to it to be able to hold extra fuel and water and things like that. So I think once you dive into a community that is passionate about doing forerunners like that, you learn a lot from other people, you know, and see, and you're also going based on, of course, what it's going to look like, because, you know, we're picky about what things look like for photography and video.
There is kind of a dilemma, isn't there, when it comes to tourism? I know we want to encourage maybe more people to go visit this part of the States, but more travel means more foot traffic, means, you know, more garbage to pick up after and so on. First of all, are there rules or regulations that you guys have to follow? Like, for instance, you have to get a permit.
We did not get a permit because we stayed out of anywhere that doesn't allow drones, of course. You know, always avoiding national parks. That's a big issue for just everything I'm doing right now, travel wise. I want to go to these places. We actually went to Arches and I filmed a little bit, but didn't end up using it for the film. The drone is such a powerful tool now for filmmaking, especially showing where you're at. And so we do sort of avoid some of those places. And then, like you said, there is kind of an issue with these places becoming commercialized, or more people finding out about a place. And then before you know it, you know, that cliff that we're on is going to have a railing and a parking lot. So we do try to keep some of these locations like on the down low, I guess. Yeah. And it's unfortunate that we have to do that, I guess. But, you know, eventually, like I would say not too long from now, like anywhere we go is going to get discovered pretty quick. We're certainly not the only ones that know about it. So yeah, I don't know. That's a gray area though, for sure.
How affected were you over the last 20 months with the whole COVID thing, as far as, you know, travel and travel filming, documentary making? How much of an impact was that?
It was a pretty big impact for me. I mean, I first of all, I'd say it's hard for me to complain about not traveling when there's so many people who struggle with that without COVID. And, you know, there's just so many like worse things going on. So I try not to complain about it, but I am trying to, that is part of like my purpose and what I'm doing. And, it definitely affected my mission, I would say, with making travel films and the whole YouTube channel that I have going. And so I didn't travel anywhere or really do much of that for about a year. So this trip to Utah was about a year after the last one. And so now I'm trying to keep it going domestically. Like I just got back from Alaska, and there are some places you can still go. So it's just trying to not let it like get me down and just keep moving forward.
Did it feel like at moments you could have been 200 years ago? Like some of the first explorers in the West. Did you get that feeling at any moment?
100%. And I mean, that is one of the best feelings about going to places like that, is definitely, following the footsteps of ancestors. I can't imagine being the first one to be there, exploring that place. And it's so vast, the West. I actually just got back from Alaska like last week. And it was the same kind of feeling as just, this place is endless, and it's just that feeling of adventure. Like that's adventure, exploring a place and feeling like you're the only one around. I don't know, and just really being able to take it all in and appreciate it without any distractions.
Yeah. So any plans for the future? Any other places you want to explore around America, around the world, that have that kind of same dimension?
I would say 100%. I'm always going to be trying to explore, amazing landscapes, but a lot of my work moving forward is going more toward a route of people and connecting with people, locals, interviewing locals, trying to get more of that anthropology factor in some of these films. So I do have some plans like coming up in the Yucatan that will contribute to some really good causes of the ancient Maya still living there in the center of the Yucatan, and ecotourism, exposing people to these places away from what you hear about, which is Cancun and Tulum, and showing people that there's actually more to this area. And I think that can work in different parts of the world as well. Taking mainstream travel experiences and just seeing what else is there that might be a little bit more, I don't know, authentic, an experience and more meaningful. So I would say, for sure, I'm all about like amazing scenery, but I'm trying to go more the cultural route too now.
So have you actually flown yourself to your own destinations that you've been filming?
I have not really flown myself to any of the destinations I'm filming, but that is the goal, is for my love for aviation to merge with travel. I mean, that's one of the reasons that the airplane was invented, was to go places. And so I think it'd be really cool to be able to fly myself to some of these places. So with that, I'm restoring an airplane from the 40s right now. And whether it's going to be that one or another one, very much into the vintage airplanes and the history of aviation. And believe it or not, like, it's a lot more affordable than people think. People spend way more on buying a truck than they do with how much it's going to cost for me to do this airplane. So it's pretty crazy. There are ways that, in aviation, you can, it's really, again, a networking thing. And I got into it from reaching out with a friend, reaching out to now one of my best friends. But at the time it was just a random person. And I said, hey, can I make a commercial for your biplane company? And I did a commercial for him. We ended up being really good friends. And 8 years later, he's been like my aviation mentor and trained me a lot. And really it's awesome to share the same love for aviation, because you got a lot of different aspects of it, which goes into the commercial thing and airline thing. I'm not an airline pilot or a commercial pilot. I fly small airplanes for fun. It's much different if you do it for a living, of course. I just keep it as a hobby, and hopefully something that can also be a very powerful tool for storytelling, of course, and exploration and adventure. It fits that theme entirely.
What have you learned about yourself through the making of Somewhere in Utah?
I mean, I was pretty happy with how that film came out. You know, I was like, it was better than I thought it was going to be. Let's put it that way. I just keep getting better at my craft. And it's a lot of fun to keep pushing yourself. You know, like I said, it was experimenting with a new kind of style of filmmaking, and like kind of trying to keep taking myself out of my comfort zone. Maybe I've learned that. Like I definitely like taking myself out of my comfort zone and trying something new to see how it goes. And I was really happy with the results of that. I've also learned from that film that conflict is a very powerful storytelling tool. When you watch a film like that, there's no conflict. It was like we got together, we had this amazing trip, and the challenge was, you know, trying to capture that place because it's so breathtaking. It's hard to even like, you know, capture it on camera. But there's no conflict in that film. And to add a conflict in a film like that, you're going to be trying to fake a flat tire or something like that, which then you're getting into more of like that docu-fiction genre, which is really cool. And I've thought about doing some of that. I mean, you see these scenes in there a little bit, like with the coffee thing of me like running from the gunfire, from having so much anxiety. So there's kind of like a fictional scene in there. So I was dabbling a little bit in that genre. Definitely like take a drive through Utah sometime, you know. It's worth it. And especially if you live in the US, you know, this country has so much to offer. Like I always am thinking international, of course, but there's just so much here. And I have this map hanging in our internet cafe, I call it, next to our kitchen. And there's a world map hanging up there, and I'm always looking at it like every day, you know.